Hi guys, you're welcome to my tutorial Python for beginners part 2. So in the last class I was discussing variables with us, and I said variables, they are just we have different types of variables. We discussed the Boolean, we discussed the strings, the floats and the integers. So today I'm just going to be telling us, giving us some tips, some of the tips that we need to name our variables. Take for instance, I can say that a equals 1 plus 7 and come down and print a actually. But what if I want to use a word and not a? What if I want to do something like a verify? What if I want to say verify maybe 2 divided by 8, and I press enter and I print, I open a parenthesis and I say verify. If I run this here, what I'm going to get is let's see what I'm going to get. So I'm going to get 0.25, which is actually the value of 2 divided by 8. If you want to round this up, I showed in the last class what we can do about it. Just let's go on, don't worry about that. Okay, so if I print verify, it's going to return the value of verify to me. But what if I have set of words? Let's say maybe I want to print verify division, okay, and I type verify division. There is something I want to bring out. If I type verify division like this, the space between verify and division needs to be given special attention. The reason is because this space is not a valid separator for a particular definition in Python, or for a particular variable name in Python. So if I say verify division and I say equals to 8 multiplied by 9, or multiplied by 9, and I come down and I say print verify division. So as expected, this is going to return a syntax error to me. So because this is not actually a valid valid name for naming a variable, so you can see it's telling us that verify function division is not correct. So what can we do? We use an underscore. In any programming language, this is common. So we use an underscore to separate two words by the time we are trying to give a name, assign name to a variable. So by the time I print this, it's going to return the value of 8 multiplied by 9, which is 72. What if I want to print let me say verify sum? So if I say verify sum of a 5 plus 6, maybe say multiplied by 4. If I say verify sum, you can see that the color of sum has changed here, which is showing us that this sum is actually a keyword in Python. So if I run this shell, it's going to also return a syntax error. But what if I separate it using an underscore? So this is going to return the sum of 5 plus 6 multiplied by 4 using assigning BODMAS. Okay, so it did not print because I did not say print. If it was in Jupyter notebook, which probably we are going to be using in our next class, it's going to actually give us the value. Okay, so I have to say print verify underscore sum. So if I do this verify underscore sum, so it's going to give us 44 as expected. So those are some of the rules we have to obey. By the time you are using stuffs like true, you have to also be careful, because by the time I say true equals 3 and I come down here and I print true, don't forget I told you in the last class, true is a type of variable, and it's also it's a Boolean function, and it's actually a syntax, a recognizable syntax in Python. It's a keyword in Python. True and false, starting with capital letter. By the time we come down to literals, to Boolean literals, you understand what I'm talking about right here. So if I run this shell, as expected, is going to return can't assign to keyword a syntax error because it's a keyword. So what do we do to avert that? If you want to use true, then I recommend you just type the small letter, because the true value is a Boolean function, and Boolean functions accept only capital letter as a starting character. So if I print this, I'm going to have 3. All right, so that's that about that. But what if I want to perform some other maybe stuffs, some other maybe complex functions? If I say I can just come down directly and say, okay, let me use print. So if I say true equals 3 minus 8, okay, now open a bracket for that, and come out here and I say multiplied by 7, okay. So and I say print true. I want to round it up to 2 significant figures. You can guess what I'm going to type right out here. I did it in the last class, so I'm going to say round. So round. So round, open a bracket. Make sure the number of brackets that you enter is correct. The number of brackets can never be odd. It should be even. Okay. So if I do this, if I print this, it's going to return the value of true to me, 2 significant figures. Okay. What if I say 3 divided by 8? So it should return the value to me. So let's move on quickly to literals. Okay, so 2.62. Let's move on quickly to what we call literals. All right. So a literal is simply just a particular, let's say, a raw data that is used to represent a particular value. Okay, so we have different kinds of literals. We can, don't get confused at all. Literals are just values. By the time I work on them now, you would understand. We have literals for integers. We have literals for you have numeric integers first. Before we go on, we have numeric integers. Then there is also the string integers, and there's Boolean integer. So Boolean literals rather. So those are the types of literals that we can have. So let us consider integers. So numeric literals are divided into integer literals, floats, and complex literals. So if I'm talking about integer literals, I can have something like 9. If I type 9, this is an integer literal. If I type minus 9, is also an integer literal. Okay. Well, integers are numbers ranging from negative infinity to positive infinity. They're just a set of real numbers. So that's that about that. That's just the literal for integers. So what if I want to consider floats? The last time I told you that floats is something like this. So if I have 7.7, that's a float. That's a float integer. What if I have complex? So a complex integer is just something like this, saying 2 exponential 4. So 2 exponential 4 is the same thing as saying that 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 4. So let us run 2 exponential 4. That should return something around 20,000 or so. Sorry, so I didn't say print. So if I type print 2 exponential 4, it's going to return something around 20,000. So this is the same thing as saying, okay, so it's turned 20,000. So it's just the same thing as saying print. It's just the same thing as saying print 2 multiplied. Don't forget, your multiplied is assigned by pressing the shift key and the 8 key, number 8 key. So it's going to give it a star. 2 multiplied by 10 raised to the power of 4. So here I used, if you notice, I used 10 raised to the power of 4. I used hash two star keys. Okay, the reason is because these two star keys represent raised to power of in Python. So typing 2 stars will raise 10 to the power of 4. Okay, so if I run this, let's see what it's going to return to us. So it should return the same value, 20,000. So 2 exponential 4 is the same thing as 2 times 10 to the power of raised to the power of 4. Okay, so what of string literals? Just the last time I told you that we can have, if we have a string, the value of a string is represented by putting quotes, representing them, inserting them into quotes. So if I say name, or let me just use age, or let me say my age, my underscore age. Okay, so let me say my age, and I type my age. I just put this, I say my age is 23. So, and I come out, I say print my underscore age. So it's going to return my age is 23. Alright, so that's my age is 23. So as my return here. So what else can we do with this? Let's do something spectacular. I can also use a single quote if I like. It's still going to give me the same thing. Okay, so what if I want to do something different, as separated by comma, not the comma there, because I don't actually intend to pass the same thing. So my age is 23, so comma, but next year I will be 23 plus 1. So my age is 23, but next year I will be, comma, will separate this string from this integer operation. Be very careful so you don't make a mistake, because if I don't separate it with comma, it's going to return a syntax error to me. So let's print my age. So by the time I print my age, I run the file, it's going to return my age is 23, but next year I'll be 24. Okay, so sorry, but next year I will be 24. So I've removed the comma now, so you can see it's returning invalid syntax to me. What if I put all this in parentheses? So what if I put everything in parentheses? Let's see what, and I separate them by comma. Okay, so, and I separate it by comma. Let's see what we have. So it's still, my age is 23, but next year I'll be 24. What if I used a single quote? So what if I use a single quote? So let's see what we have. So it's still giving us the same thing. So like I told you, I can use a single quote or double quote if I like. Alright, so what if I remove the parentheses and I put it as a list? Okay, I put it as a list. Okay, so don't worry about this, please. Don't worry, I put it in a square bracket. Don't worry about putting it in a square bracket, so you can see what it's actually returning. It's returning the same thing to us. So that's that about the string literals. So what about Boolean literals? You can guess those. Don't even guess. You have to know it. It's true and false. If I say A equals true and I say false, sorry, and I say B equals false. So if I want to operate on this, I would like to say print maybe A plus B. So what is A plus B going to give us? A plus B, as expected, should give us what? Should give us 1. because 1 is going to be true. True plus false is going to give us 1 or true. Okay, so what if I say A multiplied by B? Don't forget, if you want to type multiply, you press shift and hit. So A multiplied by B, that should give us false or 0 as expected. So it's going to give us 0. Yeah. So what if we have A divided by B? That should give us a 0 division error. So these are some of the spectacular things we can do with Python. So as I said, it's going to return 0 division error. So but what if I say B or A over A? Oh no, let me say B over B. B over B is going to give me 0. So okay, it's going to give me division error also, because I was trying to divide 0 by 0. Okay, Python doesn't understand that. So these are some of the interesting things that we can we can have in Python. So far we've discussed Python literals. We've discussed the different ways in which we can actually assign name to our variables, and some of the things we have to take into consideration while assigning names to variables. And for complexes, this is where the interesting thing happens. For instance, even in complex, I can also pass stuffs like binary function and binary hexadecimal octa function into it. So for instance, if I say print 0b binary 1101 1. So if I do this, let's see what we get. Okay, oh sorry, this is still there, so let me just, okay, so let's see what we have right there. So we have 27. So this is the value of this. So that's 27, the value of the binary of this of 11011. So it's returning 27. So another place where you have to be careful is during this Boolean, assigning as Boolean function. This is another place where you have to be careful. So this Boolean, you can see that I told you that it only accepts capital as starting character. If I type true and I change this to false, you can see that the color is going to change. So we have to start this. The Boolean functions always start with capital letter. So for this class, another thing I would like to mention is you can see that you can see this word float here. You can see that it's not actually executing. The reason why it's not executing is because I have actually commented it, just like how we comment in our HTML or JavaScript or PHP. Okay, so it actually has a comment key. So the comment key for Python is a shift and 3. By the time I type shift and 3, that's going to give me hash good. So this statement will not run. Okay, so this statement will not run. So this statement is not going to run. So because this is what we call comment. It's commenting something, or maybe we just want to type something. We want to type something we like to remember within our code, and we don't want to, we want to have an organized coding so that we don't have things jam-packed together. So we use comment in that case. So quickly, before we end this class, let us look at something interesting. Let us look at the impute a function. So if I say impute, impute name, and I put this say input name. So if I say input name, so I've typed input name. Okay, so if I say input name, and I just put this into so if I type input name, so another thing I would like us to look at is the word input. So you can see that here, down here, if you look at very well, I'm having a name here. It's telling me to input my name, and if I say Ido, and I press enter, well, that program is going to terminate. So if I can also say that name equals input name. Okay, and I come down here and I say print name. Alright, so let's see the interesting thing that will happen here. So I've said print name, and I say my name is Ido. Okay, so it's going to print Ido here because I've typed name here. So this is one of the interesting things that we can do with Python. By the time you start, probably you want to start your web development, or maybe you want to start gaming. So these are some of the basic things that we need to know. So here what I did was I just defined name. I said name equals input, and I came down here and I say, okay, if the person types his or her name, then you should return the name that the person typed. That is what I have just done. So the next time we're going to meet, I'm going to be talking about if and else conditional statements, and after that we're going to be talking about loops, for loops, and while loops. We're going to be talking about how they work, okay, before we move on to the next phase. So thanks for listening. If you like the video, just subscribe. More to come in the coming weeks. Okay, so it's likely that I might take a break next week, or if I don't take a break, I'll let you know. Just subscribe to get notifications of my posting. Thank you for listening. You can just play around everything that has happened here, and please feel free to ask any question in the comment box. I promise I'm going to answer as soon as possible. Share with your friends and tell them, tell as many as possible that you know will be interested in this course. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.